013-655-6864. Call that number to share your own rants and banter about what happened with your club side this week, or send the messages on WhatsApp. Together, let's do this. But before we start, guys, let's quickly go on this quick commercial break. When I come back, and we'll run through, obviously run through the sporting activities, the stories of things that have happened this week. Quick commercial break. We'll be back. Welcome back from that quick commercial break, guys. Quickly, let's go through the top sporting activities that happened during the week. Well, we knew on Thursday, yesterday, that Jamie Vardy, the England international, after 13 years at Leicester City, he is leaving. He said he's going to leave at the end of the season. Leicester is no news that they are relegated to the championship. And Jamie Vardy right now is leaving the squad come the end of this season. That's what he told the club yesterday. It's very emotional one for Leicester City, but Jamie Vardy eventually is leaving the club side. Let's quickly talk about Manchester United. Quick one during the week. We also get big report in terms of transfers involving United. That United are in deep negotiation to sign Matthias Cunha, the striker from Wolverhampton Wanderers. And we hear reports that United, out of all the teams interested in this Brazilian striker, that United seems to be in pole position to get the man at the end of the day, and they want to sign him. They are in pole position to sign him eventually when the summer transfer window opens. The report we are getting is United do not want this to be in June or July. They want to get this done as quickly as possible. It seems they are moving very swift and fast to give Ruben Amorim what he wants as a Manchester United coach. Still talking about Manchester United, let's also talk about their coach. Ruben Amorim spoke to the press today, and he really had a lot of things to say in the press conference about the club. First of all, he's talking about the players on loan, the likes of Marcus Rashford, the likes of Anthony, Jadon Sancho at Chelsea. And Robert Amorim is saying that all of them would return to Manchester United, that there's a chance they have a future at the club Manchester United. We come and we talk about everything, but quickly, let's still talk about United, and let's talk about their game against Athletic Bilbao in the UEFA Europa League, because there's good news right now for the United fans. We hear that Amad Diallo will be returning to training, and they say that second leg against Athletic Bilbao, there is a strong possibility for Amad Diallo to return for that second leg against Athletic Bilbao in the UEFA Europa League. There are top games coming up this weekend, but before we talk about those games, let's also talk about the UEFA Champions League games that will be coming up next week. Let's tell you that Arsenal will also be playing against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday, as Arsenal fans are anticipating and waiting for that game. And also the same thing is happening to Barca. They would also be playing against Inter Milan. Barca will also be in action. Barca in action during the week. They won against Mallorca, but there's a big one coming up tomorrow against Real Madrid. It's the Copa del Rey final. Let's give you a result of games that happened during the week. Arsenal 2-2 against Crystal Palace. Not the best of results that they have. That means that Liverpool can win the league this weekend. Real Madrid also won. I told you Barca won. Real Madrid also won against Getafe by a goal to nothing. Not good one for Inter Milan. They lost in the Coppa Italia 3-0 against AC Milan. Quickly, let's come back home. Let's talk about Nigeria. The Flying Eagles, 2-1, they won against Egypt in the friendly match playing during the week. And ahead of that game, African Under-20 tournament that will be coming up in Morocco. And we are getting a report right now from the media officer. They are still negotiating and hoping to play against Zambia in that game, just to prepare for the first game in the 2025 African Under-20 Cup of Nations against Tunisia. That game will be coming up by the 1st of May. So those are part of the top stories that happened during the week, guys. Don't forget, the number to call still remains the same. 0913-655-6952. 0913-655-6952. WhatsApp line is 0913-655-6864. Now let's go to the discussion, guys. Let's go to the rant and the bant. And don't forget, together, guys, we'll be doing this together this evening. And that's because I'm alone in the studio. Let's start from the conversation about Jamie Vardy. Former Chelsea striker Jose Condon has come out to say he believes that Jamie Vardy is one of the top 10 Premier League strikers right now. That when you look at his career, he's one of those strikers who are top there in the top 10 Premier League, part of the top 10 Premier League strikers that we have. Let's quickly listen to Jamie Condon, former Chelsea striker. Then I'll come back and obviously give you my own assessment about Jamie Vardy. Fantastic player. I told you he has a lot of goals in the Premier League, and he has told Leicester City after 13 years that I will be leaving the club at the end of the season. But let's quickly hear from Jason Cody.
For example, right? Wayne Rooney. But we're going through all of the names that you'd expect to see in the Harry Kane, right? These guys are elite and they've done it at the highest. I think what needs to be taken into consideration when you talk about Jamie Vardy, and I think we'll look back on Jamie Vardy's career in years to come slightly differently than we do now, because he's ended his career and it's been a bit of a disappointing season. They got relegated last season. But I think when you look at what he's done, and he's done it for Leicester, all the other names, they'll be like Torres for Liverpool, for Kane for Spurs, Shearer for Blackburn and Newcastle who are winning time. Mate, all of these players were doing it in Champions League every season. They were winning, playing for the best teams with the best players around him. Jamie Vardy scored the most goals in Premier League history over the age of 30. He's in the 100 club over the age of 30. I think that he needs to be respected.
So it feels that Jamie Vardy needs to be respected, that because he scored a lot of goals for Leicester City, he feels that Jamie Vardy is one of the top 10 strikers in the world. Now, question in the Premier League. Now, the question that I am asking this evening is, if you're saying Jamie Vardy is one of the top 10 strikers in the Premier League, where do you rank him? Is it better than the strikers that I will be calling their names? Because he has scored 198 goals for Leicester City, and guess what? He has scored 143 Premier League goals also for Leicester City. Made his Leicester City debut probably at the age of 27. Is it better than Didier Drogba, Thierry Henry, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Fernando Torres, and also definitely Wayne Rooney? Because we also go to the names Alan Shearer. These are strikers that we regard as the best strikers in the Premier League, with excluding Fernando Torres. If you ask for my own opinion, I don't think Fernando Torres is in that ranks. But when you look at the likes of Didier Drogba, Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Ruud van Nistelrooy, come on, I regard these players, Harry Kane also, I regard these players as the top Premier League players, top 10. And I do not think that Jamie Vardy is part of the top 10. I think he's a great Premier League player. I don't mind. I don't care if you're doing it for probably Leicester City. If you're good, you're going to sign for one of the top teams in the Premier League. The fact that you're not good means that you're not part of the top teams in the Premier League. If you're good, you would compete for the top teams in the world. Look at Harry Kane, for example, played for Tottenham Hotspur, scoring goals for Tottenham Hotspur, didn't live for a larger part of his career. But when he says that he's going to the end of this career and he had to win a trophy, he has switched and right now he's playing for Bayern Munich to show the kind of striker he is, to show the quality he has. That's talking about Harry Kane. So those are the strikers I think are one of the top 10 in the Premier League. For Jamie Vardy, I think he's a good striker. If he leads the top 20, I think it will be part of the top 20. But to regard him as one of the top 10 in the Premier League, come on, you can't say he's better than Thierry Henry, he's better than Didier Drogba, Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think he's better than Fernando Torres. But I honestly do not think he's better than the strikers I've mentioned right now, including Harry Kane. And I also think probably when you look at Wayne Rooney, it might be that can be arguably a bit. Arguably, I know Rooney scored about 200 goals. I don't think it's better than Alan Shearer in terms of his own strikers' instinct. But I still do not think he's one of the top 10 strikers in the Premier League. If I'm going to rank him, I will rank him among the top 20, but not the top 10. Yes, he has done well, won the Premier League, won the FA Cup for Leicester City, amazing 13 seasons for Leicester City, went to the Championship with Leicester City, came back to the Premier League with them, and again went to the Championship again this season, because they have been they have been confirmed to have been relegated to the Championship. But I don't think he's part of the top 10 greats in the Premier League. That's my own opinion about Jamie Vardy and where he stands among the greats in the Premier League. You can share your own opinion with me in the studio. Phone line remains the same. WhatsApp line remains the same. Phone line to call is 0913-655-6952. WhatsApp is 0913-655-6864. What do you think about Jamie Vardy? Do you think he's one of the best striker, top 10 striker in the Premier League? 143 Premier League goals for Leicester City in 13 years. In total, 198 goals for Leicester City in total for them. So do you think he's one of the top 10 strikers in the Premier League? Let's leave that quickly. Let's talk about Manchester United in a bit. And United, this is actually coming because of former Manchester United striker. There's a lot to talk about United, but let's start from the transfer about Matheus Cunha and what West Brown has to say about it. West Brown, in his own opinion, thinks that Matheus Cunha is the type of striker that United need. He thinks he has the character and he has the pedigree to play for Manchester United. Let's hear from West Brown himself, so that we'll come in and also talk about my opinion and throw the phone line open.
Can create stuff himself. He's got that individual personality. I think we've seen that with the games he played against us, really, especially the away game. I think it was in December. But I mean, he's the sort of player, like you said, on that pitch, he's got personality, and I think we're missing that sort of character there at the moment.
From West Brown, he thinks that the striker Matheus Cunha is a striker that can play for Manchester United. He thinks he's Manchester United quality. He says he has the character and is the sort of player that they need right now. I honestly do not understand what is wrong with Manchester United. If you say at a point this season that you want to win the Premier League in 3 years, I don't think Matheus Cunha is that kind of striker. I don't know what Manchester United had to do with this Brazilian thing. And I do really think they have learned, because come on, we know what has happened with Antonio and all the Brazilians wonder that United have been buying. Even Casemiro, yes, he's playing brilliantly right now, but we know he's not playing his best season at Manchester United. I don't understand what you're thinking about. I don't know who's in charge. I don't know if it's still the Glazers or is the Ineos group right now, because it feels like the same strategy all over again. Matheus Cunha, who I saw at Atletico Madrid, and I'm surprised what he did at the top club at Atletico Madrid. He's literally struggling at Atletico Madrid, was the shadow of himself after a brilliant season in Germany. Came to Atletico Madrid, was a flop at Atletico Madrid, then moved to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Amazing things he's doing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I personally think he's an average, mediocre team player. I honestly do not think that he's a top team player, because he comes to Manchester United next season, and trust me, United fans will be expecting him to give them the likes of Messi, Alexander Isak numbers. And I don't think he's that kind of striker. I don't think he can give that kind of goals. And I really do not see the difference between him and even Joshua Zirkzee that United has right now. Because for everything that Joshua Zirkzee that I see in him has in his own profile, you can literally say the same thing about Matheus Cunha. The only thing different in Matheus Cunha has this rugged mentality, and he knows how to fight his player, and this attribute that we've seen in him being reported. Except from that, all in all, English small. Matheus Cunha, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's Manchester United quality. And I think this is another mistake of a transfer for the United fan. I'm gutted because I'm not a United fan, but I don't understand what is happening with this club United, that we expect them to be back next season and be playing football under Ruben Amorim. And the very first transfer that will be gotten is Matis Cunha, and we want to be competing against Arsenal, who is looking at buying Benjamin Sesko, who was looking at buying Alexander Isak, the Newcastle striker. You're competing with Manchester City, with Erling Haaland, who are going to be back next season, firing on all cylinder. For Liverpool, they've asked Alexander Isak to remain at the club. I say Isak, Mohamed Salah to remain at the club. They are also looking at getting Isak or getting a striker in to be firing on all cylinders. And you are going for Matis Cunha. I don't understand what is happening with Manchester United. And I personally do not think that that's a good transfer for United come next season. That's my own opinion about Matis Cunha. I don't know what the United fans feel about that. The phone line is open: 0913 655 6952. 0913 655 6952. WhatsApp is 0913 655 6864. What's your opinion about the United transfer about Matis Cunha? And also, what do you think about Jamie Vardy and also his ranking in the Premier League? James Corden thinks he's one of the top 10 Premier League striker in the history of the Premier League. I stand to differ. I think differently. I don't think he's in the top 10. If I would rank him, I would rank him in the top 20. So what do you think about the ranking? Where would you rank Jamie Vardy? He's going to be leaving Leicester City at the end of this season. And what do you think about Manchester United going for going for Matis Cunha? I want to hear from the United fans. Do you think, just like West Brom, that this is a good signing for Manchester United, or you think this is another mistake from the club, just like we have seen from Anthony? We know what ended at Tony. He has ended at Robert Sees on loan, doing wonders for himself, but couldn't replicate what he did at Ajax and Manchester United. And I do not think what made them think that Matis Cunha will replicate what he's doing at Wolverhampton Wanderers. He has not even replicated that at Tottenham Hotspur. At a team like Tottenham Hotspur and the team around them like Aston Villa, and you want to bring him to Manchester United. And this is a guy that has flopped at Atletico Madrid. Let me hear your own thought. 0913 655 6952. That's the number to call. 0913 655 6864. You're still listening to Diamond Sports Fan Zone, where you get a chance to rant and bant and talk about anything that you think is not happening with your club side. We're still going to be talking about Arsenal Football Club. They have a game in the Champions League on Tuesday. And also, because of Arsenal dropping points in midweek on Wednesday, that means that Liverpool can get to win the Premier League this weekend. All they just need to do is just get their own results. If they get their results, Liverpool might be winning the Premier League this weekend, and that's just down to Arsenal and what they did during the midweek. Let's talk about Arsenal, because I also have something to tell you about Arsenal and one of their legends. And guess who I'm talking about? Happens to be a very good Arsenal, someone that the club respected so much. David Seaman. David Seaman, in his own opinion, he has backed Arsenal to obviously beat Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. I think Arsenal is a club that can beat Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League on Wednesday. You know, guys, let's quickly hear from David Seaman. Then I come back to start taking your calls. Let's hear from David Seaman.
What scares me is the way that they played at Liverpool in Paris. You know, that was like a proper display, and that was against a team that's top of our Premier League, and they ripped them to bits. You know, it's a good job Alisson was on top form. You know, so that worries me a little bit, but I think that if we play our game, I think we'll be...
If you play our game, I think Arsenal can win that game against Paris Saint-Germain. I don't understand. I know I'm the one that say Arsenal play top team. You can do this, you can do that, that you should believe in yourself. But the sort of belief I'm seeing from the Arsenal fans right now, I'm surprised. Even at Ramsday, I've come out to say things Arsenal can obviously beat Paris Saint-Germain. But let me see if I'm lucky with this first call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm doing great. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is man.
Emmanuel.
I'm calling from Garage Offer.
Emmanuel from Garage Offer. You're a fan of which club?
I'm a fan of Manchester United.
Trust you, United. What do you think about Martins Cunha transfer to your club? You think it's the best one?
Firstly, let me talk about Jamie Vardy. He has done his best. He has really tried. In fact, it got to a point they were benching the guy. So the Yoruba people will say, NAC, somebody have had it, so it's time for the guy to go.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, about Poha.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the fact that so many players will be leaving that team is a good idea. The team should sign Poha. And I'm really excited it is not Poha they are going for. In fact, the position Poha will be playing in the Manchester United is not what they really need. They need a striker.
That's what they are getting him for. That's what they are getting Cunha for.
Addition of Poha will only make the team be better. So getting more options, getting more transfer done in this summer is the only thing that can sort things out. But honestly, Poha will be a good sign. Good signing for Manchester United. That's my addition.
Thank you very much. He thinks Cunha will be a good signing for Manchester United, but he still feels United still need to get another striker. Yes, United need a striker, but let me also tell you that the striker we are getting from there right now that they want to buy is Matheus Cunha. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Sheon from Sawmill.
Sheon from Sawmill. Quickly, you're a fan of which club, Sheon?
I use Manchester United.
Manchester United. Do you think Matheus Cunha is a good signing for your club?
Of course. He's a very good and great player. He can dribble, he can hold ball, he's very agile, he's not lazy, and he has scored a lot of numerous free kicks. And he's a goal scorer. So he's a good addition. You compare it to
Joshua Zesky.
Zesky, and even Ala is better than Ala. He can hold ball. He can score free kicks. So he's a complete player.
You mean Matheus Cunha is better than Erling Haaland?
Of course.
Thank you very much. You hear here from Sheon from Sawmill, a big Manchester United fan. Thank you very much, Sheon, for your contribution. He says Matheus Cunha is what Manchester United need. That is even better than Erling Haaland. I hope you guys are writing this down so that you will not forget when the season starts next season. United fans are applauding this transfer right now, saying it's a great signing. So that when the season ends or when we start next season, they will not come and say we did not want them. Don't forget also, Joshua Zesky has a whole lot of good return at Bologna. Good goals return, good assists, good play. When you watch him, brilliant player. Immediately join Manchester United. He feels like a shadow of himself. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is Jonathan from Tanke.
Jonathan from where?
Tanke.
Jonathan from Tanke. Jonathan, you're a fan of Manchester United?
From Man City.
You're a fan of Manchester City. Do you also think Matheus Cunha is better than Erling Haaland?
I don't think so.
So who do you think is better?
There's no Haaland is better than Martin. There's no need to buy that Martin. They just buy like somebody like Osimhen. That will do for them.
You think Osimhen will be better for Manchester United?
Yes.
Thank you very much. He thinks that Osimhen.
About Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal will beat PSG.
You don't think Arsenal will beat PSG? Sure, you think PSG will win?
PSG will win them.
But Arsenal defeated Real Madrid. Why do you think they cannot beat PSG? Are you still there with me?
Yes.
Why do you think they cannot beat PSG when they beat Real Madrid?
Madrid are not good. This season. We all know that. But if you check PSG this season, we all know that they is unbeaten, that they are playing. They are lead. So I don't think the only thing that can stop PSG is Arsenal defense. That is the only thing that can stop PSG from winning. That's Arsenal defense.
Thank you very much for your contribution. He feels the only thing that can stop PSG is that Arsenal defense. Yeah, he does not think Arsenal can beat PSG, even after beating Real Madrid. Good evening, Yemi. Trust your day has been amazing so far. Mayor from Basin. Well, to an extent, I agree with you on Jamie Vardy, but I actually do not know you will not mention Aguero. Oh, that's another one. But nevertheless, I still feel it will be in my own top 15 EPS strikers. Probably, if you extend it to 15, probably I might reconsider. Said for Cunha, I think he's a good signing, and good signing considering what mediocre United have been given in the last years ago. I feel Amorim will improve him. From a darling club Chelsea, I wonder why we are not over Osimhen yet, because this Jackson, Nuni and Neto will not give us any big trophy. I will tell you why you are not over Osimhen. Osimhen wants a serious club. He wants to play in the Champions League. And for now, Chelsea are not in that category of the serious club. Probably when he cannot get a transfer to those serious club, Osimhen cannot consider Chelsea. But for now, you want to agree with me, Mayor, that your team is not serious. Hello, good evening. Who am I speaking with? Hello? If you can, please call back. The number to call remains the same. You're still listening to Diamond Sports Fan Zone. You can call in 0913 655 6952. 0913 655 6952. WhatsApp is 0913 655 6864. 0913 655 6864. That's the WhatsApp line to send messages to us in the studio. To call us is 0913 655 6952. I was talking about Arsenal before going to pick calls. Let you have it from David Simon. He says they're confident that they can beat Paris Saint-Germain, and said they just need to beat them best. I also support Arsenal should be confident, but this level of confidence from Arsenal, their fans and former players, is what I don't understand. Because when you say one or two things, they just tell you that they beat that same PSG during the season. Now, is it not the same PSG that we beat during the season? And that I don't understand. Because PSG are right now a different side to the PSG that Arsenal beat during the season. I understand Arsenal need to be confident, but this level of confidence, if I'm Arsenal, I would check that level of confidence. Because when you look at what they are doing in the league, Arsenal has not been convincing in the league. They've now had a whole lot of wins in their last 5 games in the leagues. I don't think they've even won in their last 3 games. They've been drawing and they've been playing mediocre teams. And I think they're just getting carried away about that Real Madrid victory. So if I'm Arsenal, I will watch that. And I will not be so confident the way they are confident. Be confident going to the game, but be serious. Do not just underrate. I think that's the word. The way they are underrating PSG, that's my problem. But there's a big question I want for the Arsenal fans. I want to ask the Arsenal fans, because our time is really fast spent on the show before I leave. And that question is, as an Arsenal fan, and we need you to answer honestly, if Arsenal go trophyless and Tottenham win the UEFA Europa League, who do you think have had the best season between the two clubs? If Arsenal go trophyless and Tottenham win the UEFA Europa League, who do you think has had the best season between the two clubs? Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. If you can call, please call us back. The number to call still remains the same. The number to call is 0913 655 6952. 0913 655 6952. Hi, good evening. How are you doing? With what Arsenal played against Crystal Palace, I'm afraid. But anyway, we are unstoppable. I'm Ola from Police Road. He's a big Arsenal fan. Ola, if I were you, I would still be afraid and hope they pick them form back. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening. Who am I speaking with?
This is Mayor from Basin.
Mayor, good evening to you. Is it because I said your team is not serious?
You know I will come for you now. It's good to be alone in the building. But at least you can concentrate, so you will not be giving us dilly-dally vibes. Anyway, I was Mahfoud, you will not mention Adewale when you are mentioning striker. For me, he's one of the best. Even Luis Suarez, I will still put in the top 10.
Nah. Luis Suarez, nah. Just 3 seasons at Liverpool, nah. If we're talking about La Liga, I might consider. But Liverpool, nah. Just 3 seasons.
For you saying that we are not serious club, well, I cannot argue that.
Exactly. Chelsea is not a serious club. Come on.
Of course, we are serious club.
You're not a serious club, Chelsea. If you are Mayor, one question: if you are the manager of Victor Osimhen, would you advise him to join Chelsea?
Okay, if you are the manager of Victor Osimhen, will you advise him to join United as well?
Obviously, I'm not. When I'm talking about serious clubs, I'm not mentioning Manchester United.
As a patriotic Chelsea fan, with what we are giving at the moment, because of Maresca, I wouldn't advise him to join
Exactly.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
So I think if we come to Chelsea, it will improve our goal scoring.
We don't want Osimhen to improve Chelsea. We want Osimhen to go to somewhere he can deliver and win trophy.
Of course, he will deliver now. He will deliver with the likes of Casedo and Enzo Fernandez.
And Neto, and Noni Madueke.
About this Neto and Madueke. I want to talk about Arsenal. Well, for me, I have said it. I'm skeptical about them winning the Premier League. They can manage to escape PSG, but winning it, I'm still skeptical about that. Because with what they are giving, see what they play against
Crystal Palace.
If they do this kind of defensive blunder to PSG, even PSG will punish them if they do that. The likes of Kvaratskhelia and
Ousmane Dembele.
So, and for Jamie Vardy, I think he has tried his best. He should just leave City.
He's leaving already.
Yeah, and go back and go to the clubs like Crystal Palace or Brentford. So he should go back to Germany. Can try there. That is my thing.
Thank you very much for your opinion. That's Mayor from Basin, a big Chelsea fan, and he also agreed that Chelsea are on serious club. Don't forget the Arsenal fan. The question is simple. I don't know why the Arsenal fans are shying away this evening. Question is simple. If Arsenal go trophyless and Tottenham Hotspur win the UEFA Europa League, who has had the best season between both teams? Answer honestly as an Arsenal fan. Who would you say has had the best season